Avast ye hearties, whether ye be charting the high seas or forced to walk the plank, welcome to the channel. High Seas is shaping up to be one of my favorite sets of all time, bringing pirates, gold, and a boatload of brand new mechanics to Flesh and Blood. Everybody wants a piece of Treasure Island, but which heroes and mechanics will help you strike gold in Classic Constructed? While the game's meta may ebb and flow, understanding how these heroes are designed is crucial to give you the best shot at winning, and most importantly, have fun. Whether you're considering picking up Puffin, maining Marlynn, or going steady with Gravy Bones, you're in luck. In addition to breaking down the pirate class's core identity, I'll also walk you through the archetypes and playstyles currently available to each pirate hero in Classic Constructed. My goal for today's video is helping you figure out which pirate hero will be best suited for you and your preferred playstyle. As we explore previously uncharted territory, let's set sail by breaking down the pirate class identity. Flesh and Blood is probably one of the best games at making each hero, playstyle, and class feel mechanically unique, and the introduction of the pirate class is no different. Much like other classes, you'll feel like a pirate in your quest for finding buried treasure, sailing the high seas, and plundering loot from your opponents. If there's anything the Pirates of Wraith have in common, it's their love for buried treasure. All of our high seas heroes have abilities that interact with gold in both limited and constructed formats. Since gold is a primary feature of pirates in Flesh and Blood, we can expect them to set up a board state of gold tokens for incredibly powerful effects. Even though our pirates will have to do without Treasure Island in Classic Constructed, there's still a treasure trove of cards to help pirates find gold throughout the game. By discarding yellows from hand with Golden Tipple and Swindler's Grift, or turning cards in the graveyard face down with Seafloor Salvage and Sunken Treasure, pirates are able to uncover treasure and create gold tokens in the process. Golden Skywarden, Chart the High Seas, and Big Game Trophy Shot are just a few hero-specific pirate cards that further support the pirate identity overall. Just behind a pirate's love for gold is their proficiency at navigating the oceans in search of treasure. Most comfortable on the high seas, pirates get even stronger during high tide, when there are at least 2 blue cards in their pitch zones. Conqueror of the High Seas, the HMS Barracuda, and many other pirate ships get much harder to stop when the waves are at their roughest, and often leave behind a wake of destruction. In addition to the high tide mechanic, pirates are masterful at using the waves to their advantage. Pirates are fueled by a life at sea, gaining resources from watery blues on the top of their deck with cards like Chart the High Seas, Saltwater Swell, and Shifting Tides. When timed correctly, these can give pirates a huge advantage by pitching blue cards from the top of the pirate's deck rather than from hand. Lastly, cards like Murderous Rabble and Throw Caution to the Wind further exemplify how pirates are at their strongest in the middle of the deep blue sea. When not searching for buried treasure or sailing the high seas, pirates are infamous for looting their opponents. Puffin's Jolly Bludger allows her to steal items from her opponents equal to the damage dealt. On the other hand, Marlynn's harpoons with Go Fish create a gold by discarding key cards from opponents. And lastly, Gravy Bones has his undead allies do the looting with the cycle of blues, Avast Ye, Heave Ho, and Yo Ho Ho, creating gold tokens when his next pirate ally attack hits. Available to all pirates, however, is the legendary Gold-Baited Hook, which allows all pirates to plunder gold tokens the next time a pirate attack hits, following its activation. This theme continues with the cycle of mutiny cards, which steal gold from more fortunate sailors. As pirate-esque generics from High Seas, Jack Be Nimble and Jack Be Quick are phenomenal attacks that get stronger when nimbleism is banished, stealing items and allies from opponents on hit. Pirates are known to steal at any cost, so we can expect them to resort to skullduggery in order to get the upper hand against their opponents. Now that we know how Flesh and Blood's pirates will set sail to discover buried treasure and loot opponents, let's look at how the pirate identity combines with each of our classic constructed heroes from High Seas. We'll start out by looking at our first pirate mechanologist, Puffin Hightail, and her trusty companion, Polly Cranka. Puffin Hightail is a sky pirate who cares about building up a board state of cogs. Because she can utilize these cogs either offensively or defensively, she's a powerful all-rounder once she's able to set up a few cogs on the board. If you like adjusting your game plan based on the given matchup, Puffin might be the hero for you. As a pirate, Puffin cares about finding gold. Her activated ability allows her to turn gold into a golden cog as a once per turn action. Golden cogs enter the arena with a steam counter, but can be cranked to refresh Puffin's action point, allowing her to continue her turn. When combined with Polly Cranka, Puffin is easily able to crank twice per turn, drawing an extra card from the second part of her ability. What really makes her shine as an all-rounder is how she utilizes her cogs both offensively and defensively. Cloud Skiff and Sky Skimmer start as on-rate attacks that also block for 3. By tapping cogs, these attacks get even better, gaining extra power or go again in the process. Cogworks Zeppelin, Palantir Aeronaut, and Cogworks Dovetail can get even more value out of her board state of cogs, creating new cogs, destroying defending cards, or even untapping all cogs she controls on the board. Because tapping cogs occurs at instant speed, this gives Puffin the flexibility to buff her attacks over opponents' blocks, or give the attacks go again when the opponent has overcommitted cards on defense. Because Puffin's attacks from high seas get go again from tapping cogs, rather than boosting, this means that she can dive into the pirate card pool, gaining access to Conqueror of the High Seas, Sunken Treasure, Loan Shark, and many other cards to help her generate gold tokens. On the other hand, as an all-rounder, she can choose to stick with Mechanologist cards, gaining access to strong boost payoff cards like 0 to 60, Fast and Furious, and Heist to help her become the beatdown against slower decks. No matter which version of the cog plan she leans into, she has access to powerful cog generators like Cogworks Workshop, Goldwing Turbine, and Copper Cog. Most notably, Cog in the Machine looks to be a powerful staple for not just Puffin, but other mechanologists as well. Cog in the Machine is incredibly flexible, generating 2 crankable, tappable cogs, and recycling itself to the bottom of the deck if a cog is tapped. On defense, Puffin's equipment provides offensive and defensive value simultaneously. Cogworks Tinker Rings blocks for 2 and provides a golden cog on defense, which helps her block critical breakpoints while empowering her attacks on the following turn. Additionally, Unicycle blocks for 1 and allows her to untap a cog in order to double up on her cog effects. Pinion Sentry is a blue block 3 that can tap an expiring cog in order to create a shiny new golden cog. Furthermore, Puffin has a slew of galvanized cards that can help her maximize the value of her cogs on board defensively. Galvanized cards from Bright Lights like Cognition Field, Soup Up, and Steel Street Hoons can destroy a cog that would otherwise be destroyed the following turn in order to gain 2 defense on blocks. In High Seas, Teeth of the Cog, Tough Old Wrench, and Golden Skywarden help Puffin maintain her board state of items upon galvanizing. Golden Skywarden is particularly powerful, gaining defense whenever golden cogs are destroyed, recycling them back into gold tokens, and allowing you to repeat the process for as many golden cogs as you have. This tool is incredibly powerful both defensively and offensively, sending 7 damage if your opponent is already on the back foot. When putting all the pieces together, Puffin's access to card draw, action points, cog-based buffs, and galvanized tools enable her to play as a flexible all-rounder, choosing the best option for any situation. If you decide to play Puffin, it's important to balance cog generation with your offensive and defensive tools to extract the most value out of each turn cycle. However, if you enjoy piloting your game based on the matchup and the game state, Puffin is likely the hero for you. Much like Puffin, Marlynn's pirate abilities also synergize with gold generation. As a ranger, Marlynn can load an arrow from her hand into her arsenal face up whenever she draws a card from breaking a gold, or anytime she draws a card during her action phase. Alternatively, her active ability allows her to turn a gold into a golden harpoon. Marlynn's archetype and how she uses her hero abilities will depend based on which bow she ends up using. Even though Azalea's signature weapon, Death Dealer, synergizes phenomenally with Marlynn and New Horizon to load 2 arrows at once, Azalea is likely to reach Living Legend before the end of National Season or shortly after. Because of that, I'll be focusing on Marlynn's Red Spine Manta and Hammerhead Harpoon Cannon builds in today's video. Even though Puffin can go fast as an all-rounder, Marlynn with Red Spine Manta can go even faster, playing as a rushdown ranger. When armed with Red Spine Manta and a deck full of go-again arrows like Sikkim Shot, Falcon Wing, and Swift Shot, this version of Marlynn looks to use card draw as a means to load and fire as many arrows from her arsenal on a given turn. As a rushdown hero, 3 of a Kind looks to be incredibly strong in this version of Marlynn. Despite 3 of a Kind's downside, she can still fire a slew of arrows as long as she has gold tokens to help her continue drawing in order to load more go-again arrows into her arsenal. Call in the big guns, Monkey Powder, and Fire in the Hole double up as buffs that also let Marlynn reload her arsenal to fire yet another arrow at her opponent. If any of her buffs are combined with Bolt and Shot, the attack gets go again and reload on hit, allowing her to go nearly as wide as ninjas, while also presenting on-hit effects with the pumps and arrows from outsiders. In her arm slot, Glidewell Fins as well as Bullseye Bracers act as pumps and additional ways to reload her arsenal in order to help her fix turns that need an extra reload. If you enjoy fast games and putting your opponent on the back foot, the Red Spine Manta build of Marlynn is a great starting point. On the other hand, if you enjoy presenting powerful on-hits and difficult to prevent damage, the Hammerhead Harpoon Cannon build of Marlynn is a great option, magnifying her tempo-oriented playstyle. Marlynn's Bow Cannon lends itself to a go-tall playstyle, paying 4 resources and tapping it to buff her next arrow by 4, and giving it overpower if it's a harpoon. Marlynn's pirate harpoon arrows are incredibly strong tempo tools that pull her ahead while simultaneously pushing her opponents behind. On hit, your opponent shows you a card from hand. If it matches the arrow's requirements, your opponent must discard it, creating a gold token in the process. Marlynn's majestic harpoons target attacks and non-attack actions, while her rares target red, yellow, and blue cards. When activating Hammerhead Harpoon Cannon, these arrows get even stronger, allowing you to look at your opponent's hand when they hit on top of the 4 damage buff. When considering that these harpoons are fired for 8, 10, or even more damage with overpower from the bow cannon, they're almost impossible to stop for many decks without running defensive tech cards. On defenses, this build of Marlynn needs blue block 3s as her resource base to help pay for the harpoons and the bow cannon. Return Fire is another phenomenal defensive option in this list, blocking for 4 and helping her to load a harpoon in arsenal, giving it an extra 3 damage on the following turn. In the late game, Marlynn can turn her gold into Goldfin harpoons to help her close out games. With the Hammerhead, these fire for 6 overpower, leaking at least 3 damage unless reactions, block cards, and equipment are given up. When combined with Gold Baited Hook, Marlynn can replenish gold to ready her next Goldfin harpoon to continue closing out the game with evasive damage. With Hammerhead Harpoon Cannon, Marlynn wants to play the right harpoons at the right time to push her opponents further and further behind. Unlike the Rushdown version, which goes wide to end games, the Hammerhead build utilizes evasion and Goldfin harpoon generation to close out games, even against fatigue heroes with a plethora of block 3s. However, if you like either of these playstyles, or if you like heroes that can be built multiple ways, Marlynn is definitely the hero to try out. Moving on to our last adult pirate hero is Gravy Bones, Shipwrecked Looter. He's also the first Necromancer, utilizing the strongest Necromancer and pirate cards to help him raise his undead army from the depths. As a Necromancer, Gravy Bones is a setup deck that looks to overwhelm opponents by summoning undead allies to the board from his graveyard. As a pirate Necromancer, Gold Generation helps Gravy Bones fix his hands with his draw and discard effect. This ability also helps him discard cards with Watery Grave. As a setup hero, being able to play face-up Watery Grave cards from his graveyard is perfect, acting as a second hand that can be accessed at any point in the game, as long as he's put a blue card in his graveyard that turn. Compass of Sunken Depths synergizes perfectly with Gravy Bones' abilities, giving go again to the first Watery Grave card played from graveyard each turn, and allowing him to tap the compass to look at the top card of his deck to maximize his draw discard effects. In addition to the pirate tools he shares with Puffin and Marlynn, Gravy Bones is the epitome of a setup hero as a Necromancer. He wants to play out allies that pressure the opponent in order to control the pace of the game. The longer they're left on the board, the more they're able to attack and use their effects. Lastly, they act as pseudo life gain when opponents have to attack them instead of the Necromancer himself. Dead Threads and Tricorn of Saltwater Death help Gravy Bones get more value from discarding allies, while Gold Baited Hook can goad opponents into blocking pirate ally attacks that otherwise would be let through. All of Gravy's pirate Necromancer allies are yellow cards, so he'll have to play a good amount of blue cards to play his allies from the grave. Thankfully, there are plenty of blue block 3s available to him with Call to the Grave, Chart the High Seas, and Give No Quarter, which are incredibly strong setup tools and enable some powerful turns for the Necromancer. Avasti can help Gravy go wider and also acts as a blue graveyard fill and gold generator simultaneously. Attacks like blue Jittery Bones and blue Restless Bones can help Gravy put allies into the graveyard while also enabling him to summon them in the same turn after breaking the combat chain. Allies and amulets with Watery Grave are tools in Gravy Bones' toolkit, where he's able to bring the best ones to the right matchups. For instance, Diamond Amulet can be played in matchups where Gravy Bones needs to pressure multiple attacks in a turn, giving him an extra action point when needed most. Similarly, Limpet Hopalong can help him go wide against go tall classes like Guardian, but she struggles into ninjas who can easily ping her for 1 damage. In the mid-range, Gravy has allies like Shelly and Swabby, which require Gravy Bones to pitch a card to attack, but hit harder and are more difficult to take down than Limpet. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Whaler Humperdink's 7 health can make it difficult for go-wide decks to clear, but it deals a massive 11 damage each turn it's allowed to remain on the board. Gravy Bones also has utility allies like Chum, Friendly First Mate, Sawbones Dockhand, and Chowder, Hardy Cook, who all provide utility the longer they're left on the board. Because his allies can be tapped for their abilities or to attack, you'll have to consider which abilities and attacks to use on which turns. In addition to tapping his allies for their attacks and abilities, Paddle Faster, Hoist 'em Up, and Board the Ship can extract even more value from untapped allies on the board. Even though his allies are strong, the best Gravy Bones players will need to figure out how to balance his lack of natural go again and lower than average block values. While this is a liability when behind, Gravy Bones can extend his lead when ahead, accumulate a board state of allies that provide value turn over turn. Opponents who can't deal with Gravy's board state of allies give him the breathing room to take control of the game. If you like setting up and accruing value each turn with allies, Gravy Bones is sure to be a phenomenal pick for you. Overall, we looked at the brand new pirate class introduced in High Seas. We also saw how the pirate class comes together to set sail in their quest to uncover gold and plunder loot from opponents. Whether you prefer an all-rounder like Puffin, a rushdown or control-based tempo deck like Marlynn, or a setup hero in Gravy Bones, High Seas is sure to provide a playstyle that resonates with most Flesh and Blood players. If you made it to this point in the video, I hope it means that you found this video helpful. If you did, leaving a like and subscribing to the channel would help me out a ton. Lastly, I would love to know which pirate hero you're planning on playing in the High Seas meta. Personally, I'm super excited to play Puffin. That's all I have today though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll teach you in the next one.